theDopeOnes podcast is proud to be a part of the Be Heard podcast platform. Be Heard is a media and creative-based nonprofit organization geared towards giving underutilized voices an outlet to showcase their talent and share their opinion. Be Heard features a wide range of podcasts centered on sports, Black culture, business, lifestyle, and social justice, with podcasts including The Podcast with Damian Barling, The Deuce and Mo Podcast, J Street Vibes, Bill Black, Sean and Vaughn, Snack Time with Mac and Ash, Watching the Tape, Hoop Ball, and of course, the theDopeOnes podcast. Follow us on IG at Be Heard Platform and check out all the great podcasts under the Be Heard umbrella.
We record? In a constant state of rage. Yeah, in a constant state of rage.
Peace, power. What's good? You are now tapped in to the theDopeOnes podcast, part of the Be Heard podcast platform. I am Donna's Dope, creator of the theDopeOnes, and we back, coming to you straight from Sacramento, California. You can follow me at Donna's Dope. You can follow the brand at theDopeOnes Official. And tonight's guest is a very special guest. This is his second time on the theDopeOnes podcast. You last saw him as a member of the Nas panel when we spoke about King's disease. He hails from Daytona Beach, Florida. He is a consummate artist. He's a recording artist. He is an entrepreneur. He is a student of hip hop. And he just put out an amazing project entitled We Still Don't Know, which subsequently got him a placement on Revolt TV. This young brother is doing a lot of incredible things, and I'm just excited to speak to him. Please welcome to the theDopeOnes podcast, Mr. Crown Harris. What's good, my G?
What's happening with it?
Not much, man. How's everything, brother?
I'm as well, man. How you holding up?
I'm all right, man. Just trying to get it, man.
You know how that go.
Yeah, man. But yo, welcome back, man. Appreciate you joining me again, my bro.
Yeah, likewise, bro. Sorry, I'm turning off this phone. I've been on this Busta album like crazy.
Oh, nah, you good, man. Oh, yeah, that ELE2 is dope.
Man, that shit crazy, dog.
Yeah, man. But we here to talk about We Still Don't Know, man. That shit is fucking crazy, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Thank
you. Yes, sir, man. Nah, man, I'm thoroughly impressed with it, bro. Honestly, man. But we're gonna talk about it in a minute, man. But let's just jump right into it, man. I know it's late over there. So, bro, tell us how you got started on your path, man. Tell us where your passion, because it's clear you got a passion for rap music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's clear you're a student of, the art form, man. So tell us where you got like your passion for hip hop music, and then how you got on your path to, actually becoming an artist.
Okay. And I'll be honest with you, man. I started young, dude. Like, real young, man. Like 4 years old, young. Like, I was watching House Party, man. When I was a kid, me and my god sister used to watch. Like, it was like 3 movies we watched all the time: Baby's Kids, House Party, and Friday. That was our classic, right? So, and I guess being a '90s baby, born 1990, like, our whole childhood was hip hop. Like we born right in the peak of it, right at the the idea of it. So like one of my earliest memories, man, like it's crazy. I was telling somebody the other day how like music, how your childhood is shaped, like your personality is shaped by the music of your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And like how influential it is to your time. And I'm like, one of the first things I can remember, like if I close my eyes and I can like take myself back in time, I remember like the Gin and Juice video.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like Creep video, like these like the first videos I remember seeing, right?
Yeah.
So I would watch House Party, man, and the way I started rapping was I would see I would mimic the battles.
Uh-huh.
So I knew all the Step to the Stage, Too Late, I Blew It. Like I knew all the battles and the verses and shit, right? And then like in school when I started writing, I'll never forget, man. It's the scene in the beginning of the house party where Kid is writing on the bed.
Okay.
So like my first rhyme was like 2 lines. That was it. It was just like 2 lines, and I had like a little orange 3-prong folder, and I put some paper in. I learned it from school, and I'm trying to like figure out how to write, and that's just where it started. You know, that maybe some Michael Jackson, just loving music young, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I knew, no cap, I knew as a kid, I was like, this is what I want to do. Anybody who know me, Earl will tell you the same thing. Like, bro, since I've known him, it's been this what I want to do, man. And I just my pops was always like, you know, anything you gonna do, you know, you gotta dedicate yourself to it. You gotta work hard at it. So I studied, man. Like I studied.
Yeah, I could tell you a student, man. I could tell, you know what I'm saying? And then a movie like House Party is like, you know, it's a staple in the culture. You know what I mean? I mean, just, you know, like you said, that era is so influential. So talk about your path to actually like becoming an artist. Like at what age? I mean, you started young, but at what age like did you start, you know, recording and crossing over to like when the artistry really came into focus? Yeah.
I was like I was 14, I think, my first time actually being in the studio. So coming from Daytona, man, you know, it wasn't no studios here. My thing was like, I would have to, like, I really came from the mud with it. Like, I would have to write rhymes, right? And then the only way I can get my shit off was like, I had to go to the courtyard like the next day in school and just like gather my homeboys and be like, yo, hear my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like no beats, none of that shit. Like
straight acapella.
Yeah, type of shit. And, you know, this is the early Smack DVD era. Like this ain't the new shit. This one, like, if you nice, you gotta be nice. So, I think my first time recording, I was like 14 years old. I actually still got that CD somewhere. It's horrible.
Now that's history, man. That's your history.
Definitely history, man. And what I would do, like my uncle would do this for me, man. I ain't gonna cut. My uncle would buy 2 copies of every CD. My Uncle Mike. And he would give me one.
Okay.
My pops wasn't like really big into it. He was like, you know, hell no. And my uncle would keep sliding him on the low, so I would just keep studying. And I started recording. I did my first mixtape. I was like 17.
Okay.
And that's kind of when it really started. From there, I left Daytona, graduated, went to Miami, started songwriting and different stuff like that. So I could say maybe like from a real pursuit, it was from that first tape, like 17 years old.
Okay. And you still got it, you said?
I still got all the tapes.
That's what's up,
I think it may be one tape I don't have. Actually, I don't have the first tape, but I know somebody who got it.
Okay. You know somebody got it, because that's how you can gauge your progression just as an artist. You know what I mean? And a lot of times as artists, you know, we don't want to look, you know, behind us. We want to keep focusing on, you know, what's ahead of us. But I think it's good to just, you know, gauge your progress and see your gains, you know, as you go. And again, it's like, go ahead, bro.
It was decent.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. No, that's what's up, bro. Let's get into, you know, we still don't know, man, because the album is really dope, bro. Like seriously, like no cap, like I fucks with it. Like I'm really impressed, like, you know, with the whole conceptualized, you know, with the dialogue, you know what I'm saying, with just, you know, everything. Like every song is really deliberate and appropriate, and it's no like album fillers. Like it sounds like you know, you almost took like an Illmatic approach to it, you know, because it's a short track list, you know what I'm saying. But it's ill because when I first listened to it, with the track list combined with how you have, you know, the dialogue in between songs, it almost reminded me of like a blend of like Illmatic and Good Kid, Mad City. Because you know how like in Good Kid, Mad City, like the skits kind of tie in the songs from one to another to bridge the gap between songs. I feel like, you know, that's what I got from it, you know, when I first heard it. But like, tell us about the process for it, man, and what inspired it and how it came about, man.
Man, that's heavy. That's heavy company to be a part of. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So we still don't know, man. So this year I didn't plan to do no album. Like it wasn't really a thing for me. Like I actually kind of was like cool on the music, especially around the time COVID hit. Because like at that point I knew music was probably gonna be the last thing on people's mind, right? And I was, you know, I had a whole plan of music that I was working on, but it wasn't it's the aftermath of this project, right?
Okay.
So I was ready to go somewhere, and then once the world shut down, I was like, I can't go there because they're not even gonna be able to receive it. So, I fly around the country a lot, man, and the dialogue, kind of just to break that part down, came from like I was in all of these different cities, and I'm talking to everybody, you know, and because of COVID and because of the presidential election and all these things, people are asking questions, and strangers are kind of talking. It's like, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And what I started to notice was everywhere I was going, everybody was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nobody's having this conversation on the surface, though. It's just y'all all having it in your own corner. So I started asking people, like, you mind if I just, you know, record it? I had like 5 hours of audio from everybody, from everywhere. And man, some of the dialogue I couldn't even fit in the album.
Yeah.
But I just had this concept, man. We did the tape in 7 days, man. 2 days in Miami, 5 days in Atlanta.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 7 of the records were done in the 2 days in Miami. What happened was I had a situation come about where a lady was interested in managing me, and she reached out. She was like, yo, you know, I want to set you up with some sessions with some producers. You know, when's the last time you've been recording? And I was like, I haven't recorded in a while, you know. So I got an Airbnb in Miami, and grabbed the crew and was like, yo, let's just go down there and warm up. And in the warm-up session, 7 of these records came out.
Oh, damn. That's what's up. The vibes were there, huh?
Yeah, man. When y'all see, like, we shot a documentary, we shot all the footage. So when y'all see the condition in which we recorded this tape, I'm talking about it's the most like Jesus in a manger type shit, nigga. It's like one speaker cracked, no booth, like it's the craziest shit. Like we had a situation and it's just like roadblocks were all in the way trying to record it. And so we did like 7 of those, man, and it was between 2 titles. And originally it was supposed to be called In the Midst of the Chaos.
I like
but
that.
It was either that or We Still Don't Know. And to me, you know, We Still Don't Know to me was themed around Marvin Gaye's What's Going On.
Okay.
Like 40 years later, we still don't know. 50 years later, you know what I'm saying? We still don't know. And I remember talking with the team, I was like, man, should I go with, because I'm gonna be honest with you, when I say that, I'm like, nigga, that's heavy shoes, so I don't wanna. And they like, nah, you gotta call this shit We Still Don't Know. You gotta go with it. So I'm like, all right, bet. So we did those records, man, and I did the 7 of them, and really it was only gonna be about 7 records. We went to Atlanta to work on the B-sides, you know what I'm saying, and 4 or 5 more records came out. And we was like, okay, wait a minute. I actually wanted to say so much more. I wanted to dive into so much more, but it was like, we had a time limit, and we were trying to get it out fast so that we didn't miss the moment. Because I think we started this around the time where the George Floyd murder happened. Okay. So when you're hearing Rage and you're hearing Revelations and all of these records, this is like maybe a week after the George Floyd situation happened, a week or 2 afterwards, right?
Yeah, Generation Easy gives me that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was that. And what I wanted to do, man, with the project was I wanted to show people, how can I say? Okay, if we're in the hard copy era, right? If we back in the era where you go into the store and you picking the CD up and so forth, if I had the opportunity to package it, the cover would have been a mirror.
Oh, wow, that would have been dope. Yeah.
So when you pick it up, you call yourself. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I wanted to put it into people's face and tell this narrative of the Black consciousness in America between Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z. Our parents, us, our little brothers, our little cousins, and where we're at in this nation. You know what I'm saying? And how Generation X is like, yo, we seen this shit before, but we never seen it like this. Right. Never in the history have you seen 50 states riot. You see what I'm saying? All at once. And then, you know, Generation Y is, we on some egotistical, emotional shit. Like I describe Generation Y as either like, we either saying fuck it, fucking each other, or fucking shit up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you got Generation Z that's on some like, man, fuck all that y'all talking about. We'll burn this bitch down and start it over. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the power to do so, and we with it. And the fears of that, the truth of that, the pain that's rooted in all of that, and then like really us in 2020 asking the real question, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. And the answer really being, nigga, we still don't know. Like we really still don't know.
Well, that's dude. Wow, that's a lot to unpack, man.
I'm bad to give you
Nah. Don't say no. That's great, man, because that gives me even more. That makes the project even more impressive because, well, for one thing, I mean, I could see like where it was kind of like, you know, you were pressed for time because you wanted to capture it. And like my only issue with the project is that it's too short. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Too long. I'm hoping you got some B-sides or something to it, but you put out tracks leading up to it, which was dope too. But like the whole generational thing, man, I love that. I love just, you know, you going from one to the other, and they all sound so different, yet they all fit the same narrative. You know what I mean? Like they have right. lineage. But man, like, you know, for you to say like you did 7 records in 4 days, is that what you said?
7 of them was done in 2.
In 2 days.
The 4 were done in 5. Like, so we did. Go ahead, my bad. No.
I was just gonna say, man, for it to be, you know, that like organic, bro, it's like sonically, this project sounds really good, like really impressive. I'm talking like I've heard recent industry albums that don't sound as good sonically as this project does, like for real. Like I think, you know, you caught lightning in a bottle because every track really sounds really polished, and you know, like you really put like, because I'm thinking as I'm listening to him, I'm thinking like, man, you know, Crown must have been marinating on these joints for a minute, and for you just came and impulsively just laid them down, man. Salute, because that's not easy to do, you know. And I'm not a rapper anymore. I recorded a project hella years ago, but I know a little bit about the process. The creative process is universal. So when you have something that's special, a lot of times it's something that's kind of been, you know, really, you know, cultivated over time. And for you to just put them out like that, that's just like real passion. So salute.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I tell people this all the time because I didn't put this guy at work, man. Like there, I remember watching reading an interview, I think, from Michael Jackson. Like 09, like Ebony, like right before he passed, and he was talking about like the recording process for Thriller. Okay. And he was saying how, like, you know, there's a certain part of the game where it's like you can't manage that. Like you just gotta crack the door and let God in. God kicked the door on this one, dog. Like I wasn't planning this, like, and I genuinely mean that, because I wanted it to be longer. Trust me, like all the way up until like the day it released, I'm still like listening, like I could have put this skit here, I should have moved this. You know, the typical creative process. But yeah, like what it was, man, I typically record a lot, right? And for whatever reason this year I couldn't. And whatever I did record, it came from such a pure place. If I couldn't feel it, and you know how, like, as a rhymer or even as a designer, as like you would cook up just to stay sharp, type shit. I couldn't do that this year. Like if it wasn't completely the most raw, honest form of art, I couldn't even deliver it. So much so that I'm delivering certain pieces of this album, and I'm like, you sure I should say? Like I'm questioning, like I know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, but it was like God on my shoulder, like say that. Say that. And that's why it came out so organic and so quickly. It actually didn't surprise me just because we really weren't in no pressure. Like we weren't in the space where it was like, yo, we gotta finish it. It just was like, pull that beat up, and it was just flowing. And that's kind of why the songs are a lot shorter, but I'm kind of glad that it fit a certain time frame, only because I feel like if I could pat myself on the back for anything, I feel like we hit a pocket where it was just enough to keep people's attention for the whole thing. And that's hard to do today.
It is, because people got short attention span. So much is coming at us at once. You gotta hit, you know, people with something quick, but that, like, you know, it sticks to their ribs kind of thing. And that's definitely what this does, you know, because you are capturing a moment in time, but you're not doing too much. You're not too preachy on it. It's not too many tracks. You don't have anything that like throws off the momentum. Like it just all flows. Like you said, the hood saying there's no skips. Like I agree with you on that. Like it's straight through. It's a movie. You know what I mean? But man, yeah, no, that recording process, yo, it's crazy, you know, the way things can just come together like that, you know, just so instinctually, you know what I mean? So, nah, man, shout out to that, man. And also, another reason why I know you're a student of this game is because there's so many like little like hidden gems in there, like, you know what I mean? Like, I love how you on Gen Y, you sampled the hook from one of my favorite Kanye songs, Addiction.
Right.
You know, even though my, you know, relationship with Kanye now is a little, you know, conflicted, but that's still one of my favorite tracks of all time. I love Addiction. So I love how you put that there. And also how you flip the sample from I Used to Love Her on Rage. You know what I mean? That shit is dope, man. So like a lot of times, like, you know, artists, good artists, you know, they say good artists borrow, great artists steal. Right. If you could name an album or a few albums, if any, would you say inspired the recording process for this?
It's a few, man. Of course, you know, Marvin Gaye's what's going on for sure. Big Marvin fan. I'm a Dungeon family baby. I think I mentioned that last time with the shot. You know what I'm saying? So definitely Aquemini.
That's crazy too though, not to cut you off, man, but I definitely got like organized noise vibes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like it was a lot of it was really organized noise based. It was really like that Aquemini Stank on Your era.
Yeah, man.
Like that's where I was really at, and that's where I was listening a lot. I think I would have to shout out my boy who's actually featured on the album, Hobo. He had a project that he dropped a couple years ago. And that's one of my favorite joints. Matter of fact, let me tell you the name of it. I think it's called Most High. And Hobo the Great Most High. And let me think what else. You know, of course, you know, to play off the, you know, I'm a Ye fan, so you know, Late Registration, of course, you know what I'm saying? And different things of that nature. But really, I didn't listen to much this year. And the thing was, like, Aquemini, to kind of piggyback off that, those are like go-to albums for me, right?
Yeah.
And this was the first year where I was hearing them albums and I was like, they finally started to sound like, okay, cool, they fading for me a little bit as far as like just the relevancy of them, even though a lot of the stuff that they talking about is still so relevant today. I was finally starting to get to that point where like, I can't, which means if you get into that space, there's a void that needs to be filled. You know what I'm saying? And I was just trying to like keep that pocket alive of just, hey, you need some that's gonna groove you and move you. You know what I'm saying? And that was the push, man. So that's what it was.
Yeah, and that's a tough pocket to get into, because when you got something that people rock to, but there's also a message behind it, that's, you know, that's really, you know, it's tough to do. It's tough to walk that line.
Only a few can.
Only a few can. Absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely think you achieved that with this, my brother, for real. But just as far as like the organized noise, Dungeon Family, you know, Outkast vibes, I definitely felt that. And like one of the songs that immediately stuck out to me was FTN, for all of those reasons. Like it has all of their DNA on it, you know what I'm saying? And that shit is like a hit, bro. Like that, you know what I'm saying? That song is a hit, man. And it's like, you know, it's touching on so many things, and it's like from like, you know, the female's perspective, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you know, it's a reality check almost, you know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the structure of the song sonically, man, is crazy. It's definitely one of my favorites. But the two really standout joints for me is, again, Generation ZZ and, you know, obviously Rage, man. So just talk a little bit about, you know, those two songs and like what it was like recording those, and you know how you felt, because it's a lot of passion, it's a lot of depth to both of those songs.
Yeah. So ZZ, so like I said, this is George Floyd, and you know I didn't I made a mission to myself to stop watching these types of videos some years ago, only because, you know, we up the street from where the Trayvon thing happened, you know?
Right.
And when that started happening, I kind of already seen it coming. I knew that, like, I knew once Obama won his second term, they were gonna attempt to assassinate his character. more than him. And I knew the way that they were going to do that was they were going to attack black boys. I had already seen it coming. So when it started, I was like, okay. Then when I started watching it happen so much on the news to the point where it was numbing to everyone but black people.
Yeah.
I started to think to myself, like, this is on purpose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is direct. This is meant. So I made a mission to say, hey, man, I'm not going to continue to, I hate that happens, but for my sanity,
absolutely,
I'm a not watch. So I never seen the video. I seen a clip of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm flying. Like I said, I'm flying around the country at this time. So I'm in Portland. I'm in San Francisco. I'm going through Milwaukee. I'm going through Minneapolis and so forth. And I'm seeing it in real time. And I'm like, yo, this shit is like burning, right? It's like really going crazy. And it made me think about something. I started watching CNN, and I never forget, like, I'm watching Atlanta go up in flames. I'm watching Atlanta really go up in flames. And I'm watching the Wendy's get burned and all of these things. And I'm noticing that it's the youth.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
And I remember hearing the conversation, I remember, there was this one conversation that was heavy on Twitter a couple of years ago. People just talking about how they couldn't be slaves and what they would have done in that time and so forth. And I tell people all the time, whatever you say you would have done in that time, what the hell you doing right now is what you would have done then. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. So I'm seeing a generation of kids who, like, some of them kids, like, they've been waiting for this moment. They've been itching for hey, I get the chance to rep for my people type shit. And then some of them are really just on some, like, I can't believe it, I'm out here. But I started watching white people revolt. I started watching everybody kind of go crazy. And it made me think about the Haitian Revolution. And I wanted to play off of Generation Z, but then ZZ kind of playing off of Kodak Black and the Haitians.
Right.
And to me, Kodak, like, the leader of all the young niggas, like, he locked up and, got his things going on. But when it comes to all of this youthful energy that you see, he's the forefront of it, period. You know what I'm saying? Just coming out of Florida. And that was like a play on the words, you know what I'm saying? But also the play on the attitude of just like, the Haitians were the only ones to revolt in the slave trade. You know what I'm saying? They were like one of, if not the only ones, the first ones, and it really was about that. And it was so small. And that's how I see Generation Z. They so small.
Yeah.
Like, they ready to go, and they telling you they ready to go. And I'm watching business owners complain about shit and so forth. And I feel them, but then at the same time, I'm like, regardless of how you feel, if you don't get in front of this shit, then if you're not standing in front of this shit, then I'm sorry, you're a casualty of war.
Absolutely.
This is what's happening. And at the end of the day, you're literally watching somebody try to take a generation and pull them into some shit that had nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Some shit that they weren't born into. Some shit that they don't even really fully understand. All they're saying, they're actually being introduced to hate, as opposed to, hey, I was raised in it and I understood it.
Right.
Type situation. So, I wanted to capture that emotion. And when I first heard the beat, man, my nigga Hero did it. Hero's out of Fort Myers, Florida. It was real simple. And I'm like, yo, send me that. And he like, bro, it ain't even done. Like, this shit ain't nothing. It's just some drums. And I'm like, that's all it need. Like,
real minimal. But inspired you.
What we do? We look.
Oh shit.
They shoot. Pop, pop, motherfucker. How we scared? Give your ass to be scared. 100 million niggas stepping
Yeah, man. No, I really love that record, and I really feel like you tapped into something that I don't know if it's being. I mean, it is in some aspects, but the youth revolution, like, it is Generation Z who is going to take us into the next phase. I feel like it's Generation Z that's going to bring about, like, the change we all want, but haven't been able to achieve because of what you said at the end of Rage. But first, before we talk about that, I want you to just talk about the process behind Rage, because, and shout out to you on the placement with Revolt, man. Salute on that, man. That's dope, man. Yeah, definitely. Much, deserved on that one, bro. But talk about Rage, man. Talk about the process behind that track.
So, Rage. So this is maybe the day after Dave Chappelle does the 846 thing on YouTube, and I'm in my room, and I'm feeling the same way, and I wrote in a constant state of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing it like I'm typing it so fast, like I'm typing it faster than I can think it. It's pouring out raw emotion, right?
Yeah.
And I'm battling internally as I'm writing this because I grew up in the church. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with God, know God very well. I can't do it without knowing God. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I know what I'm saying, but I know how I'm feeling. Right. And I know how frustrated I am with it. And I remember just praying like, yo, and God keeps saying to me, say what I'm telling you to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm writing a record, man, and the concept and the placement of in a constant state of and rage it's a play off James Baldwin's statement,
mm-hmm.
right? And a constant state of rage. But then the placement is after you get through this whole tape, man, and you deal with all these egos and all these different things, and then you finally get to a point where you like, you know what, fuck fighting this shit. I'm gonna leave it in God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
You turn on your TV and you see another person that looked like you being murdered.
Right.
And then instantly you go from, but see, this is why I can't leave it in your hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Type situation. And it's like, why is this always this point of like, why do we constantly keep repeating this cycle? What have we done? You see what I'm saying? That makes us keep staying here. And then when rage comes, it's the point of after you finally have got to the constant state of like just perplexed, complex confusion, it becomes the question that we all ask. What you gonna do? What you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? Nigga, what you waiting for?
Right.
And it's a very simple question because if we looking at Generation X, right? And we looking at Generation Y that's nervous, and then you're looking at Generation ZZ that's active.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Generation Y, I'm sorry, that's oblivious. Generation X that's nervous, and then Generation Z that's active. The question becomes, they telling you how they feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not hiding it. Like it's not a guess. It's not a thought process. As Black people, we have mastered the art of finding an answer that ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we mastered the art of that. Of like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, we see this, but now I gotta be something else. Like,
right, like reading between the lines.
We'll run around the circle from the instead of just like, nah, my nigga, that's what it is.
Right.
Like they telling you, they not playing no games. So at this point, what are you waiting for? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just wanted to pose the question to Black people because I'm like, while we out here and we all on our Twitter, we all on our Instagram, we all caught up in our feelings, we all doing all this yelling and shit. You do understand that there's people in the world that's preparing.
Yeah, that's real.
For this moment, right? You do understand that at the end of the day, when it get ugly, because it gotta get ugly before it get better. All that shit that you talking about and that you losing your mind dealing with or just entertaining, none of that shit gonna matter, bro. When this shit really go there, because they telling you win, lose, or draw, they feeling like going there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you can't ignore that. And I didn't want to scare people, but at the same time, it was a wake up, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I say certain lines in there to kind of just hit people. You know what I'm saying? Maxine scared to tell Kyle he was everything she needed. Now we living single.
Mm-hmm.
Our streets full of evil. Like I'm telling you, like, nigga, y'all so separated and caught up on this bullshit that you're literally missing the fact that they trying to rob you. You don't see them snatching your kids.
Right.
You don't see them attacking your women. You don't, shorty, you talking this shit. You don't see that man getting gunned down and arrested in front of you consistently. Like you really, this the only shit that you concerned about. Is how your instant gratification, cool. And then when you turn around and you realize that everything that you end up receiving is a result of everything that you neglected.
Yeah, you said a word, bro.
You see what I'm saying? Are you gonna, then at that point, is help me.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, while you got the opportunity, pay attention. And that was, man, I couldn't give it to you no better way. I didn't want to preach.
Right.
That was my whole thing on the tape. I wasn't trying to preach because I heard a lot of people, like most people in their music this year wasn't talking about these type of things, but the people that were, it was like really preachy and it's all.
Yeah.
This ain't a season where you can fucking preach. I wasn't trying to preach to you. I wanted to relate to you, and I wanted to just pull the cover off and be like, nigga, here you go. Look.
Yeah. Yeah. Facts.
The point where you can't ignore it. You know what I'm saying? And that was the mentality behind it.
Cut that shit off, bitch. They lying. Mama's crying, daughters dying, rubber bullets flying. Guess the streets needed to ride before you felt the spy. Still with all that singing, niggas hanging, crackers lying. Disagreements on the timeline. Black woman begging for help, black man begging for love, while the kids crying. Vaccines nicknamed for genocide. Maxine scared to admit that Kyle was everything she needed. Now we living single, eye for eye, streets full of evil. The tears were love. I felt one drop, but it ain't mean to as they build you up. Half for the lies that we believe, designed to get you up. To live a life of disbelief. And nigga, what you waiting for?
And that's what I love about it, man, because you weren't belaboring the point. Like, you were really direct about it, but you, without being preachy. And I think the best work is, number one, the work that genuinely reflects the times. And number two, genuinely connects with people on a relatability level. And I think you did, both of those things, really well. And as artists, I honestly, I feel like, when I'm just sitting in here, like, thinking about what I want to do, within my means, the best thing that I could do is communicate through my art. You know what I'm saying? And when you have a platform like what you have, I mean, you really speaking directly. You speaking directly to not only your fan base, you speaking directly to a demographic that we need at least as much dialogue as possible. Because, like you said, there's so many people who are just, instant gratification. You might be mad on Twitter, you might be mad on Instagram, but in actuality, you just living your life for you.
Right.
And that's a part of the problem. You know what I mean? And it's like Malcolm X said, there's no such thing as a nonviolent revolution. The shit is going to get worse before it gets better, but it takes being active, and whatever that means to each individual. Yeah. That's up for interpretation. But to be honest and to be brutally honest about it with your own people is something that we need more of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I heard a lot of things this year, man, and I know how it kind of works when it comes to the music game. Like, a lot of this shit is recorded. Most times when you're hearing the album this year, a lot of it was probably recorded the year before.
Right. Exactly.
So it's already planned. So I knew what was gonna happen. What I was more surprised by with the music this year was the people that kept going with their move.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that still was like, I'm gonna drop this album even though it has nothing to do with
No, it don't relate to what's going on.
And I was like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? And for me, I wasn't listening to much music this year, but I was like, man, if I'm gonna put something out, I needed to hit people where they at, because I knew how people was feeling, because I'm talking to everybody. Like I said, I'm communicating with everybody, and I'm just like, yo, this shit can't be ignored. Not even on no teaching shit.
Yeah.
Like, just on some, like, nigga, you can't ignore this. So what's the shit that you're playing when your soul needs some help through this shit?
Yeah.
And as I'm putting the track list together and I'm putting the skits, I'm trying to find the conversations that I know is universal. Everybody saying the same shit. Mm-hmm. Like, one of my favorite skits on it is the skit my man Mike is after Squeamish, when he talking about how everybody just feel like they don't need nobody, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And how I can't take a break. I can't deal with mental health because I got so many problems, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, all of these different things of just saying, man, listen, identify what's happening, because you have the time to do it now.
Yeah.
There's a time for peace, there's a time for war.
Yeah.
Whether the war is spiritual, whether it's physical, whether it's financial, whatever the state of the war is, mm-hmm. There's a peace and there's a calm. Mm-hmm. Everybody was just yelling this year.
Yeah.
Just crying and screaming, and it's like, well, you didn't even realize you asked for this.
Yeah. No, and that's what I love, like what you said after Rage, about how 2020 was actually like a year of reflection, you know, and then juxtaposed with the fact that as angry as we are about Trump and about the rise of white nationalism and white supremacy, not only has it been here, but he kind of, he gave it a new life because he is America. Like, I agree with that 150%. You know, it's like how you said, like if you were to make, you know, this album in 95 or even 92 after the Rodney King, you know what I'm saying, situation, and you're just holding a mirror up, and it's like an ugly truth, and a lot of people can't face the truth head on.
That's
go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say that's the thing that I noticed from a lot of people. Like I'm talking to everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's blaming shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do. We look for something, but Mercury's in Gatorade, and this is happening, and that's happening, and it's the reason, and it's like, okay, that's intangible, right? You can't really grab that. You can blame it, you can point your finger at it, but you can't really grab it. But about the shit that you can actually control,
right?
How many times have you actually looked at your life in this process and said, you know what? I probably could do this better. I got some time now. All the things that I was trying to do before, shit, the world is shut down. Like the craziest thing, for example, you got children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and my boy talk about this because we got aunties that's in the school system. And what's crazy to me is this: how many people didn't know their children until this year?
Wow. Yeah.
How many people don't know your kids? Like you at the school cussing teachers out.
Right.
You doing the most until the motherfuckers is in your house 12 hours and you sitting there seeing what they doing and you like
what they really doing.
Right. And then it's like, oh snap. Or how many people never had dinner together with their family?
Yeah.
All of these little things that was necessary. Everybody worried about COVID. What about your household? Everybody yelling about change and you're talking about Trump, and I'm no Trump supporter at all, but I am a firm believer that you have to manage what's happening across you. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he's doing fucked up shit from the top, but what in your immediate circle are you actually helping to tighten or make better or fix? Before he can affect your household, how are you affecting your household?
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm noticing it's like everybody's scared of the mirror.
Yeah, they are. Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's my gift in life. Maybe that's my gift, that I always just hold a mirror up and say, hey. Because I think that's the only way you can fix yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to be one with who you are. You got to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, if you know yourself to 100%, then can't nobody come and criticize you and knock you off your pivot. If anything, it's only going to help you.
Right.
For the things that maybe you forgot, you might be, you know what, I was aware of that. Thank you for reminding me type situation. But when you out here and you don't know yourself and then you're pointing the blame, a vote ain't going to fix that.
Yeah, that's real.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, absolutely. I mean, when you can take accountability for the things in your life, because we are, you know, we dictate everything that is present in our lives. But so many people don't want to take accountability. Like you said, they want to point fingers and blame. But when you have that kind of self-awareness and knowledge of self, and you can admit, okay, this is why I'm not as productive, or I'm not making enough money, or I'm not contributing enough, like you said, to my household, and my kids are just out here acting a damn fool, on and on and on. When you can do that, that is when real change starts to take place. But I don't know, I can't help but feel like there's this, I don't know, like there's this indoctrination, like you said it earlier, like the instant gratification thing, you know, which also ties into the short attention spans. Like we just want everything right now, you know, and you know, social media facilitates it. You know, just everything being at our fingertips kind of facilitates it. Yet at the same time, like you also said, 2020 is really it's been a reflective year. Yeah. And if you didn't take the time to reflect, and you missed a golden opportunity.
You not only missed a golden opportunity, man, you're not gonna catch up.
Nah, you're not. That's fact. Because
you're not gonna catch up.
This is a turning point. This is a paradigm shift that's taking place, you know, culturally. And again, like the mirror analogy is great. And the thing, you know, about Trump being who America really is, like that's the ugly truth.
How you think he got there? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that conversation, it's like, I told people I'd never forget, man, when he first ran. I told my boy, I said, he's gonna win.
I did too. I said that shit too. I used to tell my wife, she's like, no, he's not gonna win. Yeah,
niggas thought I was crazy. And I was like, nigga, let me tell you at the bare minimum why he was gonna win. His name is associated with wealth.
Absolutely. And so many of us revered him for that.
We grew up knowing Trump.
Exactly.
You already knew him before he ran.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to this whole situation, he was a pretty likable guy.
Right, because we didn't know who he really was.
Right, you didn't know who he was. So, you know what I'm saying? And like, even like, to even show, you know, I'm not perfect. Even instant gratification. I would have loved for this tape to come out and just boom. Because the hell that we went through.
Yeah.
But to even get this tape out, we went through, nigga, we went through hell to get this tape out. But that's the instant gratification to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just battling like, man, I really want everybody to hear it because I want everybody to be helped. But then I gotta realize like, this shit gonna travel at its own pace. Like even records like Generation ZZ, like that's foreshadowing. Like, nigga, we ain't even got to that era yet.
Right.
I'm just telling you, because when it cracked, that shit gonna ring off in the streets. I already know. We ain't even got there yet. Like, people can't even really fathom. I was actually more surprised that people chose that record early on when the tape first dropped, because I thought that was gonna be in the listening sessions. Like only one listening session it really cracked off. The rest of them, like they kind of jumped to FTN and Generation X and Generation Y stuff. So when people were hitting me and it was like, nah, this the one, I was like, yeah, you can feel it in the air. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's finna get there. You know what I'm saying? And
it's appropriate though. I mean, even like, yeah, it's foreshadowing, but it's like that vibe is in the air, that feeling is in the air. So if you do pick up on it, it's like, okay, yeah, you tapped into exactly how people are either feeling right now or are anticipating to feel.
I wanted to give Black people a sense of strength and pride. Because like one of the things about when you're dealing with a season like this is a lot of times, you know, you get out here and it's easy to forget what you were fighting for.
Yeah.
Especially amongst the judgment, right? So if you play Generation ZZ and then you play Generation X, here you got the kids that's out there, right? But then you got the parents on the very next record. It's like, baby, I got babies and I'm worried about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that y'all might be the ones to tear this shit up, but I don't want to be the next mother of a George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. I don't want to be the one that has to get that call at 3 o'clock in the morning about my child.
Right.
I know what that's gonna do for me. You see what I'm saying? And the pain as well as the fearlessness that accompanies both. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I feel like we've tried every angle. And after the tears and after the so forth, we've repeated the cycle of the tears and the pleading and the begging and so forth, right? And it's like, you can't. It's funny, I see everybody quote Malcolm, right? But it's funny how people pick and choose what part of Malcolm they want to quote. They don't really dive into the whole shit.
I quote him all the time.
Yeah, they pick the sweet ones, the ones that cater to their situation. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, man, I just feel like as Black people, I want us to understand, like, how you feeling ain't wrong. How you feeling is not it's not irrational. It's very valid, and you don't have to change your stance. No matter who telling you that. Because this is the part of the game where you're gonna see some scary motherfuckers pop up. And you're gonna see some people who not scared. You know what I'm saying? And everybody got a role to play. Maybe your role ain't in the streets. Maybe your role is in the office. Maybe your role is cooking some food. Maybe your role is medical care. Maybe your role is lawmaking. Maybe your role is teaching. But everybody needs to play a part at the end of the day. And it ain't just for Black America. It's for your sanity as a whole, because Black people ain't the only ones out here fighting.
Right.
It's white people fighting. It's Spanish people. It's Mexicans. It's all kind of people. This is evil versus good. You know what I'm saying?
I just quoted Charlemagne, who said that, you know, it's not a black and white thing anymore. It's definitely a good versus evil. It's a morality thing, you know. Right. But that's not to exclude the fact that the Black issue is being highlighted.
Right.
And that's why I can't get mad or like cancel, you know, Ice Cube, you know, because everybody was like, you know, oh, Ice Cube, you know, he fucking with Trump, this and that. No, Ice Cube loves Black people so much. He's willing to sit down at the table with Trump, even though Trump just going to use him like a prop, like he did Lil Wayne. But Ice Cube's intentions are so focused, like he has tunnel vision because he just wants his people to have a better situation, not even necessarily a seat at the table. He just wants us to have a fighting chance. Like he feels like we haven't had that yet.
Let me lay it.
I can never be mad at Ice Cube for that. But it also, I want to go back to something that you said, how you wanted to, you evoke like the feeling of Marvin Gaye and like what's going on. And, that was an era in not only music, but just in life period where there was more of a sense of pride amongst Black people.
Right.
James Brown, I'm Black and I'm proud.
Yeah.
That was, my mother would always talk about how much she loved that record. My father's favorite artist is James Brown.
Right.
And a lot of it comes from them making that, their sentiment about that known. Like, we're not just entertainers, like we trying to inspire. So like you said, you wanted to, give people a sense of pride. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like artists, do you feel like rappers or singers or just entertainers or just Black figures, athletes, whoever, do you feel like they're leaders? Do you consider yourself a leader? Because again, you talked about people quoting Malcolm.
Right.
A Malcolm quote that's going on, that's going around right now is in response to like people getting mad that Lil Wayne was, taking pictures with Trump, because he's been put on this pedestal not only as an artist but as a leader. So when people like Wayne and Kanye, they fucking with the other side, if you will, let us down, it's like, should we even hold them to that standard? Like, should they be leaders? Like, I'm even conflicted about it,
I got you. How do you identify a leopard? By its skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know an orange tree by the fruit that it produces, correct? So it would be foolish of someone to look at Lil Wayne as a leader in a political background when one of his earliest rhymes is "ain't wearing no suits because we ain't trying to be presidents."
Right.
It's not a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's telling you like, that ain't what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube, I understand why it hurt Black America, right? But at the same time, and this is my problem with Black America in the conversation around leaders, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna pose a question, right? We looking at a Black man who literally has been relevant to our culture and famous in our culture for, let's say, a little over 30 years, right? For 30 years, not only have you come in this game and dominated rap, you could have just stopped at that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just got your America's Most Wanted on, your NWA on, gave niggas 3 classic albums and been like, nigga, I'm one of the greatest and good, like a lot of rappers do.
Yeah.
Not only did you do that, you employed and empowered hella Black people in just that era.
Facts.
Dr. Dre's not here without Ice Cube. Eazy-E's not here without Ice Cube. Gangsta Rap's not here without Ice Cube. So all the shit you've been listening to for the 30 years, that's not here without Ice Cube.
Right.
None of this shit is here. Then you take that method and you go create films. And some of the Black people that have brought us the biggest joy. Chris Tucker here is not here without Friday. Bernie Mac is not here without Friday. John Witherspoon is not at the level of his career without Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Regina Hall is not here. Regina King is not here without Friday. And then you go and do that again, and you create a basketball platform for Black people who probably fucked their money up or whatever, and just love the game and gave them another opportunity,
another shot
to get out here. That's not available without Black people. And then one question being asked cancels your entire method, right? Hold that thought. This is the issue with the leadership situation. You know the saddest part about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King? Their 4, 5, 6 children were raised without fathers.
Yeah.
For Black people to turn around and still fall victim to the same trap that they were falling victim to before they died.
That's real. And they died penniless too.
They died penniless. Only for Black people to turn around and yell, "Lead us."
Yeah.
Lead us. And then you're showing us in real time what you do to your leaders.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get a man a chance to speak, and you may have, some of you crucified him. D.L. Hughley, you crucified him, sir. For one, what have you ever spoken about that was valid prior to a few years ago with your change? You see what I'm saying? First and foremost. Second off, cuz, what are you doing in your community? Because I ain't seen you put nobody on. Like, ain't that a phone call? Why we do all this shit on the surface? I'm wrong. Okay, cool. He wrong. Oh, take accountability. I had a whole debate with people, man. He's on the ground and he could have talked to all these people, and I don't like the way he handled the money. Okay, cool. That he earned. Why didn't he use his money to do this? Why don't you go get you some money?
Yeah.
Since you got all the answers of how this shit's supposed to be done, sir, how about you go get you some money? Then you can do it however you feel. And then when you get that money and you attempted to do it however you feel, remember that all the motherfuckers that you got the money to help is going to be on the bottom of the motherfucking mountains talking the same shit that you talking about a nigga who climbed up there. Because you seeing it from your perspective. You're not seeing it from his perspective. And wrong or right, at the end of the day, why do we have so much lenience and freedom with everybody but our own?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all forgive white people that say nigga all the time. Justin Bieber good in the hood. All these artists that we love and these people that we love that disrespect our culture, rob our culture all the time, all they got to do is say some hood shit, speaking patois one time, they invited to the barbecue. But the niggas that's been here with you the entire time, they make one mistake and it's cancel culture.
Yeah.
It's you stupid. I'm stupid? So I'm not smart enough to employ hundreds of black people that literally eat off my name every time Ice Cube's on a bill. You know how many black families, how many black children go to private schools or get food on their plate because my name is Ice Cube?
Right.
Nah, fuck that, right? You stupid. So then we turn around and we ask other artists to be leaders. And it's an unfair thing. I watched it all year and it aggravated my soul. It irked my soul. I'm on Twitter. First off, I'm on Twitter the first part of the year just fucking with people to get responses. So I can just see and I'm collecting data.
Mm-hmm.
Then after a point, it stops being funny because it's like, y'all motherfuckers really think like this.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all really thinking on this level. Okay, cool. And then I start putting myself in these shoes and I'm saying, damn, bro. So with the love that I have for black people and what I do, if I step out here and I try to speak on them, how long before they crucify me?
Yeah.
And then you put every artist in that position who's literally went out their way to entertain you, who miss Christmases with their families, who miss time with their children who had to share their parents with the world. Oh, that come with it. You rich. Ain't no amount of riches gonna replace missing your daughter recital.
Right.
Ain't no amount of riches gonna replace missing your son football game and he just scored his first touchdown. No amount of money gonna replace that shit, and fame gonna replace that shit. People sacrifice their lives for your entertainment, and without this entertainment, a lot of your culture wouldn't be your culture. A lot of the shit that you think you love and you the way you wear your hat and that dress and that shirt that you got on and that dope one shirt that you rocking and shit. I had to take away time from my children to make this shirt.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But you sit here from your corner and you talk crazy. Right. And then turn around and ask the same people that you talk so much shit about to sacrifice their lives and lead you.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes me think about LeBron, like what he just went through, like in the bubble, you know, like he was away from his family, you know, for so long, and so much shit was talked about him. So much shit has been talked about him, you know. Right. And then he won, he prevailed, you know, and it's the same thing, you know what I mean?
That's a human trait.
Yeah, and then I think you know, I think with black people, like a lot of it is, I mean, it's a sad truth, but I think a lot of it is like it's a self-hate symptom, you know.
It is.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, we do have a leniency on leadership, but the truth is going to take a collective effort. You know?
I think my response to leadership is this. I said it a little while back. Don't ask for no leader if you ain't leading your home.
Yeah.
Lead your home. Because I can get out here and preach and teach and speak on every podium and put myself in the line of a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't change your kids more than the people that's around your kids every day.
Right.
You in your community. Everybody who's criticizing anybody, the first question that I ask most people that shut them the fuck up is, what have you done in your community?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know what we do. We throwing tournaments, we giving back to kids. I'm doing all these types of things. You talking that shit, you ain't even fed the homeless before.
Yeah.
In your own neighborhood.
Yeah.
You won't even bring no canned goods to your church. So the first thing that when people talk about leader, my number one answer for 2020 for everybody is find a mirror. Find a mirror, dog. Like, you want a leader? Go look in the mirror and find a leader in you. Because at the end of the day, the first leader I ever had was the people in my household.
Yes, sir.
I ain't looked at TV to find no leaders. Like, that came when I was old enough to understand shit, and then I was able to receive it. But when I'm a baby, the only way I learned how to walk is my mom and my daddy, cuz.
Right.
Are the people that's closest to me. So at the end of the day, man, you guys want everybody to lead. Everybody want to go to heaven. Don't nobody want to die.
Right.
And we electing everybody else to die for us because we have a savior complex. And I'm telling people now, those days are over. Black people ain't gonna keep putting themselves in the front for black people to keep disappointing us. At the end of the day, man, you really want to see real change, systemic racism, systemic change comes from home. A nigga cannot invade your home or the principles and the minds of the people in your home if you teaching them. They can come into your house, but at the end of the day, the principles, like prime example, I'll give you a crazy story today. I'm in Atlanta before I came home. I'm going to my sister's house. And I come knock on the door, and I'm guessing she probably sleep or whatever. I just popped up because her little baby be moving the phone, so she don't even hear her phone half the time. He just grab her shit and go hide it. I don't know why kids grab stuff and hide it, but they have a fun time doing that. So I'm knocking on the door. Nobody's answering. I go back to the car, and I'm seeing my nieces and them look out the window, but they can't tell it's me. So I get back out the car, knock on the door, and I'm like, yo, they not opening the door. They look out the window, I get back in the car, and I'm seeing, but they can't tell it's me. So I was like, I'll clear it, I'll holler at her later. What was dope about that moment was it didn't matter who was outside. All you know is you was taught, don't open that door.
Open the door. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And you stuck to that amount, even if it was somebody that you recognized. If you wasn't 100% sure that that's who it was, you didn't open that door. That's the prime example that I'm talking about.
Door. I'm telling my kids that every single day. Don't open that door.
Yeah.
You
And
know
that's
what I mean?
that lesson that you're teaching your kids is gonna go a lot further than any rap song.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Any endorsement. Like at the end of the day, if you was gonna vote for Trump, Lil Wayne ain't finna make you vote or not vote for Trump, cuz. Like, especially not in the black community. That's the shit that aggravates me about the black community. Like, we say this and some people will hear this and be like, that's a very base. Fuck out of here, man. Like, there's a code amongst us. And I'm talking us.
Right.
There's a code. We recognize bullshit. We know what's what. Lil Wayne taking a picture with Trump ain't gonna make you say, man, I'm gonna go vote for Trump. The only people that's gonna be affected by that is the white people who was Carter 3 and beyond fans. The niggas who been down since Block is Hot and all the rest of that shit, we gonna see that and be like, Wayne high as fuck, man. I don't know what the fuck Wayne got going on. Yeah, and we gonna go about our business.
Yeah, no, that's facts, bro. That's facts. I mean, I know what Wayne, yeah, if you know who Lil Wayne really is, and you know that, he'll never, speak foul against just white people in general.
Yeah.
Just the story of him shooting himself, and it was a white cop who saved his life. You know what I mean? Like, just that. Like it's real. But something you said earlier, just about, it's about community, man. Community activism, if you will, or just community involvement. Like, I like that word better.
Right.
Speak on Shop Open, man. Speak on the movement that you've created, the brand, the movement, what it's about, what you're doing with it, and the mission behind it.
So Shop Open, man. Shop Open is a collective of entrepreneurs, man. And we just use grassroots tactics, dog, to empower everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the concept and where Shop Open came from for me was the struggle of every black man. I'm tired of being broke. You know what I'm saying? So the shop is open. Something has to be for sale. I think our whole thing was rooted, and it's not just for black people, it's for all people. It's actually, to be honest with you, it was more based off generational. It was more based for the millennials than anything, because I feel like we got the short end of the stick as far as society. There's not really any social security for us. There's not many jobs, and we all pretty much started in debt, due to college. So if you don't own something, you don't have anything.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? And if 2020 showed you anything, it showed you that. You don't have any ownership. You don't have anything to sell or to barter. You out of luck. And we at a place right now in our country where the barter system finna reappear.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it already is.
It's already there. You know, you've seen it with the toilet tissue. You know, niggas is in that, you know, what you got for some tissue. It's like it was all kind of situations, right? And Shop Open was about instilling financial literacy into our community, not just blacks, but millennials in general. We weren't taught that shit. You know what I'm saying? We like, you know, they took a lot of shit from us. Like when I listen to my parents talk about, you know, trade schools and just like something as simple as wood shop in high school. I'm like, we never had a wood shop in my high school. Yeah. So you mean to tell me you went to high school and you learned how to repair certain things and fix certain household things? We was never taught none of that shit. So even at the bare minimum in your high school, some people at your school figured out, hey man, I want to be a mechanic, or hey, I want to be a carpenter or something. Nigga, it was just go to fucking college.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So for us, man, you know, Shop Open was about encouraging entrepreneurs, encouraging the black women, saying that they're the fastest growing rate of entrepreneurs in this nation, encouraging millennials to stop following the trajectory of go to school, get a job, you know what I'm saying, get married, have kids. Think for yourself, figure out what you love to do, find something that gives you extra value in society. And I wanted to start it. I wanted to infiltrate the kids now, because the funny part is we talk about Generation Z, but the next generation's name is Generation Alpha.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I thought that was really special, because I'm like, them little motherfuckers finna raise hell then. That mean they finna come and really shake shit up. And I'm like, if we can set a platform to where they understand money, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not an expert on everything, you know what I'm saying? I understand enough. And my thing is, I wanted to bring all the entrepreneurs and all the collectives to rebuild a community, so that we can understand how to move wealth, how to move money in our community. And hip hop is a culture, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop is black culture. You know, when you talk to the Asians and all of these different people, they had their own culture. Our culture was hip hop.
1000%.
The African American culture was hip hop, and somehow we got swindled out of it. But that's fine, because as black people, we always reinvent the next wave. So our thing was, let's create a system that allows all entrepreneurs to collectivify, trade, sell, build, you know what I'm saying, highlight each other's. And I just wanted a platform. It's a stamp for me. It was a stamp on everything that's dope in business. So like, you know, prime example, one of the things I want to do is next time we chat, I'm gonna interview you, because I want to talk about the dope ones and how this came from, you know what I'm saying, where it was birthed from and how you got here and the struggles of entrepreneurship. Because we got to reintroduce the concept. A lot of people, like I said, everybody want to die, don't nobody want to go to heaven. Everybody want to be rich, don't nobody want to do the work.
They don't want to do the work. Or they want the success instantly. And that shit.
Yeah, and for me, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, this was a way for me to help you identify your brand. When we first came up with Shop Open, you know, it was a mixtape. It turned into merchandise, and from there it turned into something bigger. You know, it literally was a declaration from my heart of just being like, y'all finna pay for these verses, nigga. I'm snapping, type shit. And then it turned into, you know, are you even a hustler if you don't got a Shop Open hoodie? Like, how I know your Shop Open if you're not rocking Shop Open?
Right.
Like you gotta sell some shit, you know what I'm saying? And I just think right now, this is, especially after COVID, that's the cool part about it. Like once all these businesses open, the first thing they're gonna say is Shop Open. So I look forward to being rich, really so.
Bro, like that's what I'm about, man. That's absolutely what I'm about, is ownership. And that to me is the cornerstone of economic equality and just equality in general. You know what
confident.
You know what I mean? And that's another thing that we would not put up on game 2 in school. That's something that was eliminated. Just money management. Like we should have had a money management class. You know,
right.
We should have had you know, a class or just something that spoke on, you know, the option to be an entrepreneur. Not just go to college and be in debt and have to pay that shit off and be a slave financially. You know what I'm saying? Like so many people are slaves. If it's not a college loan, it's a car loan, or you know what I mean?
Right, a house note, or
you know what I mean? Just understanding money. And you know, it's like, you know, my brother Alex, like he's, you know, he took it upon himself to, you know, start to learn a trade just on his own after going to the military. And with real estate, that's another cornerstone. That's something that we need, more of us in. We need to understand it more. You know what I mean? And Mark Cuban says something that just really hit me. It was a couple years ago. He was just like, "You're not going to accumulate wealth if you're not selling something. You got to sell something."
Product.
And then if you can sell something and do it with integrity and make positive change, that's a win-win. You know what I mean? So if you're selling something and at the same time you're giving back, you're teaching, you're preaching financial literacy, financial freedom, which is a huge lack in our communities. You know what I mean? And of course, I could point to Nipsey. You know what I mean? His whole movement was that. But even before Nipsey, the people who laid the groundwork, from Russell to they laid out that business model. You know what I'm saying? And it's up to us to continue it, but to revamp it and make it, work communal. The community aspect, the collective aspect. I love that you have, other people involved. It's not just you, just with your, it's like you bringing people in, you putting people on.
It's about teamwork, man. I think
absolutely
we, just to kind of dive back into the album, like that's the question that was posed between FTN and Generation Y, and those things was just like, everybody's pushed to their own corners, man. Mm-hmm. And the concept is that we can do it by ourselves, and it's like, nigga, no community. For one, by yourself and community don't go together.
Not at all.
First and foremost.
Well, infinity.
But two, man, you can't. No man is an island, And my whole thing is like the way that we operate at Shop Open, man. I want experts. Like this jack of all trades shit is cool, and they've trained us to be this way. And I feel like the reason why they trained us to be this way, a lot of people think is empowering. Oh, you got to be able to do this, and that. Yes, you do have to be able to have skill sets, but you got to master something. And as long as you don't master anything, you can always be moved around. You're going to always be in a position to have a job if you're not a master of something. You see what I'm saying? So what I tell my team is like, hey, man, what do you want to do? Or anybody that's rocking with me, what do you want to do? Hey, man, I shoot, but I really like pictures. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. Like I can do visuals, but no, do pictures. Give your blood, sweat, and tears and your whole soul into pictures. And then we'll go find somebody to do cameras and do videos, because whatever you're passionate about, you're not going to die doing it. You're not going to burn out. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to lose your passion because you love it until you go into something new, Right. But a lot of the times, man, we got people who can do all of these things, and then they're not actually good at any of the things that they're doing. They just can only do enough of it.
Yeah.
And then that affects your quality. That affects your ability to sell. That affects your ability to even communicate or be confident when you're communicating about your specific craft. I think.
By the way, bro, my bad, not to cut you off, but while I'm thinking of it, man, I love the aesthetic that you had, like the just like continuity of it, like the black and white with the yellow accent. Like I fuck with that, like that.
Oh,
shit.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man, that was I don't know, man. I think we just wanted to change the colorway, but I wanted it to be something. Really, the yellow was kind of supposed to lean towards more the gold.
Okay.
It's the royalty. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was intentional. But it was just about, man, like what I was saying was like one of the things about like the time that we're in and what's beautiful about it, because everybody's looking at about what's so negative about it. But what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a rebirth. Not even a rebirth, a new birth. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's living in this era, whatever we do right now, this is the foundation for the next 80 years.
Yeah.
Whatever this country's gonna be is based on us. Just like the country that when we was born into the 90s, everybody, the 90s was so great. You do realize that was a snowball effect. Mm-hmm. From 1900 on down to the point where the last 10 years of the decade was like, nigga, this shit lit. We done did all this shit for 100 years. Yeah. So I think it is imperative that we as Black people, with all the resources that we have to master some shit. And this is an opportunity where after all of the smoke settles and it clears, you're going to see some masters. You're going to see some incredible talents appear and emerge from the dust. You're going to see some brilliant people. I foresee our own Gucci's. I foresee, you know what I'm saying, the Dapper Dan's blueprint being really manifested into real shit. Like even with what Yeezy's doing, as much as, I hate, the stances that Ye makes sometimes, I can't ignore the moves.
Right. You gotta respect the moves that he's making.
You know what I'm saying? And these types of things, even if your moves is left field, you may have created enough space for somebody to come in and do it right.
Exactly. If nothing else, you inspire the generation under you, and that you can't take that away, you know. So I definitely agree with you on that, man. But one last thing to close out, bro. I want to ask you, what would you say to a young artist / entrepreneur who wants to be, you know, they want to be like Crown, they want to be in your position, they want to, you know, have, you know, a collective, they want to have a brand, they want to have music that, you know, not only can entertain but it can inspire also. What would you say, or what would you say to a young Crown? Like, you know, what needs to be done to execute and to get to where you are and to continue moving forward?
Resilience is the key to success. You're resilient lives, man. The only thing about success, man, and getting what you want is like if you stick with it. Only people that lose are the ones that quit, and that was a rough lesson for me. You know what I'm saying? Even trying to get to this place was like, I've done so much work, and you get to when you know, the instant gratification, you look for the answers, and you're like, where's the moment? But it's like, as long as you don't stop, you always win. You know what I'm saying? You keep getting better. Other thing I would say is study, man. Study your craft. Love your craft. Like, I come from an era where you couldn't just say it.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't just say, yo, I rap. Niggas was gonna be like, all right, spit. Like, and if you trash, you don't rap then, sir. Like, that's not what you do. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, study your craft, love your craft. I heard a quote a long time ago, and it sounds morbid, it sounds crazy, but I understood the concept. It said, find what you love and let it kill you.
Oh yeah, I live by that.
Yeah, and that's my motto. Like, dive into it, man. Throw yourself at it, fail forward. Not to be cliche, but that's the only thing I know. You know what I'm saying? Study, fail with pride, get up with just as much pride.
Yeah,
keep going. Study every niche of this. When you say you want to have a team, understand that people are humans. People ask about my team all the time, and they make, man, you got a team. I hate that statement, but you got a team, as if these motherfuckers just fell out the sky. And
right.
No, these are grown people with real everyday lives that they got to deal with. And the way that we make this situation work is that I understand my team. I know when they burnt. I know when they hungry. I know when they not motivated. I know this and that. And I know that everybody got to work on their own pace. Love people. Do right by people, dog, and everything will go well. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are in this finesse era of like, I just want to cross everybody out. And that's what happens when it's ugly. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you cross everybody out, you're going to be in a cave alone. And then you got to fight the lions and tigers and bears by yourself.
Dolo. Facts.
So, you know.
Facts, man.
That's all I got, man.
Brother, I truly appreciate you joining us. You know what I'm saying? I truly appreciate you sharing your journey, your passion. You know what I mean? Again, the album is really dope. Like, I really want to see it. I know it's going to do incredible things. Keep pushing it. You know what I mean? I love your consistency on social media. That's just a part of the game you got to play, but you playing it well. You know what I mean? Like, your name, Crown, is appropriate, man. You're a king, man.
Wow. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you, my bro.
Anytime, man. Everybody, man, check me out. If you haven't, We Still Don't Know is out on all platforms. Everything that you can stream on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify. Follow me at Who Is Crown on all social media. And I only have one request, man. If you hear that album and you love it, tell the 3 people about it. That's my only request. Tell 3 people about it.
I don't think that's asking for too much, man. I don't think that's asking for too much. I'm definitely putting people on, man, because it's really dope. It's really something. It's a period piece. Like, people need to, you know, take it in and just, you know what I mean? So I appreciate your time, man. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate you taking out the time.
We're going to trade all that information because I got some shop open hoodies for you, dog.
Oh, yeah, no. Send me a shop open hoodies, man, for sure, man. I definitely want to rep the brand, bro. Definitely.
Right.
All right, my bro. Have a good one, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Bro. Peace and love.
if I leave, will I find out what I should believe? Now I wear my mind on my sleeves. Lost my heart, it was confiscated by thieves. Lightning struck twice as I slept. Eyes wide shut as I wept. Stepped up my cubicle, Stanley Kubrick, my view of success.
By any means